Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are looking at a topic that feels like it's pulled straight out of a sci-fi novel, but it's actually happening right now, in the App Store on your phone. We're talking about the technology of feelings.
It's a space that is absolutely exploding. I mean, you've got meditation apps, mood trackers, AI therapists. It's all part of this world of emotional technology.
Right.
And if you look under the hood of like almost all of these tools, they are operating on a single, very specific assumption.
Yeah, and that assumption is basically if we collect enough data about you, your heart rate, your sleep, your journal entries, whatever,
hmm
we can predict what you're going to feel next.
mm
It's this idea that your happiness is just an engineering problem, that if they
Yeah.
can build a good enough model of your brain, they can, optimize your life like it's a conversion funnel for a website.
Exactly. It's treating our interior lives as just another data set to be mined, cleaned up, and optimized. But today, we're doing a deep dive into a source that just says, stop. This entire approach is fundamentally wrong.
The article we're breaking down is titled, Why the Future of Emotional Technology Isn't a Model, It's a Boundary. And it hits hard right out of the gate. It describes the current state of these apps as surveillance capitalism dressed in therapeutic language.
That is such a heavy phrase, isn't it?
It really is.
Surveillance capitalism dressed in therapeutic language. It suggests that, while these apps claim they're helping you find peace or balance, they're actually using the exact same extraction logic that social media uses to sell you ads. They're just mining your sadness instead of your clicks.
And the mission of this deep dive isn't just to complain about privacy, it's to look at a solution. The source proposes this massive shift. It wants to move us from modeling, which is what everyone does now, to something it calls membranes.
Membranes, the biological metaphor, and I think by the end of this, it's going to completely change how you look at your phone. It's about shifting from a system that tries to know you to a system that simply witnesses you.
Okay, witnessing versus knowing. I really want to get into that. But first, we have to unpack why the current way, the model, is so broken. The source calls it a philosophical error. Why is it an error to try and model human emotions?
Well, it comes down to this problem of compression. I mean, think about what a model actually is. If I want to model the weather, I have to take all the incredible complexity of the atmosphere, wind, heat, moisture, and I have to simplify it. I have to put it into numbers. I have to compress reality to make it fit inside a computer.
Right. If you didn't compress it, you wouldn't have a model. You'd just have the weather itself.
Precisely. Now apply that to a person. A model tries to compress the infinite texture of lived experience into, what, vectors and weights. It takes the messy, beautiful, contradictory reality of your life, and it just tries to flatten it. The source argues this isn't just a technical imitation, it's a form of violence.
Violence. That seems like a really strong word for a software architecture.
It is, but think about what gets lost in that process. The source talks about the unbroken thread of emotional existence. When you're living your life, your feelings aren't these discrete data points. You don't feel sadness, level 5 at 2 p.m., and then joy, level 3 at 4 p.m. It's a continuous flow.
Yeah.
But a model has to treat that flow as noise. It has to filter out all that nuance to find a signal so it can make a prediction.
It's like trying to summarize a really complex emotional novel with like a 3-word hashtag. You might be technically accurate, sad romance or something, but you've lost the actual story. You've lost all the texture.
That's a perfect analogy. And the reason these apps do this is because they are obsessed with prediction. They want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
The algorithm is asking. User was anxious on Tuesday, so they will likely be depressed on Wednesday. It's trying to stay one step ahead of you.
Which feels eerie. It feels like the app is trying to tell me who I am before I even know myself.
And that's the philosophical error. It collapses your dimensionality. It tries to know you in that data extraction sense. Rather than just engaging with what is actually happening right now, it replaces presence with prediction.
Okay, so if the model is the villain of this story, then the hero is the membrane. Let's talk about that. When I hear membrane, I'm like right back in high school biology class looking at a cell under a microscope.
And that is exactly where you should be. Think about what a cell membrane does. It isn't a brick wall, right? It doesn't just block everything out.
Sure.
But it isn't an open door either. The source calls it a boundary with selective permeability.
Selective permeability. It lets nutrients in, keeps toxins out, and crucially, it defines the shape of the cell.
Yes, it defines where you begin and the rest of the world ends. So in the context of technology, the source argues we need software that acts like a membrane. It should preserve the continuity between your inner world and the outer world, but without collapsing them into each other.
So instead of an app that tries to suck all your data out to build a profile of you, a membrane app would just sit there.
In a way, yes, but actively. See, the goal of a model is total capture, to flatten you. The goal of a membrane is to allow you to remain volumetric. It preserves the volume of your experience. Its primary function is witnessing continuity.
Witnessing continuity, that sounds a lot more spiritual than it does technical.
It does, doesn't it? But it's a very practical shift. Instead of asking what emotion comes next, the membrane asks what coherence is already present. It's not trying to construct an identity for you. It's acting like a mirror. It just reflects the patterns that you are already creating without trying to interpret them or, sell them.
So it's the difference between a friend who listens to you vent just to support you versus a therapist who is secretly taking notes to write a book about your problems.
Or even worse, a marketer who's listening to you vent so they can figure out the exact moment to show you an ad for comfort food. One is extraction, the other is holding space.
Okay, I love the philosophy. Structural sovereignty, holding space, volumetric existence. Sounds beautiful, but I'm looking at the source material here, and this isn't just a theory. They actually break down a real-world system called Lamora.
Yes, and for any of the tech-savvy listeners, this is where it gets really, really interesting. Lamora isn't just an app that claims to be private. Its architecture is designed as a membrane. It's built on a completely different logic than, the Silicon Valley standard.
Let's get into the nuts and bolts. The system is built on something called Cosmos, which stands for Compliance Mechanized Ordering System.
Which sounds incredibly dystopian, I know. But the compliance here isn't about complying with a boss or a government. It's about complying with the reality of time.
Okay, break that down for me.
So in a typical app, your data goes into a database. A database is mutable. You can edit it. You can delete it, reorder it. An admin could, in theory, go in and change your mood from sad to happy in the back end. Cosmos works differently. It maintains an audit substrate.
An audit substrate.
It means every single check-in, every note, every interaction is recorded in an immutable, append-only log with global sequence numbers.
So once something is written, it's basically carved in stone.
Virtually, yes.
Yeah.
And the source makes a really key distinction here. This isn't for surveillance. No one else is seeing this log. It's for substrate permanence. It treats your emotional history like geology. You can't go back and change the fact that a volcano erupted 100 years ago. It happened. It's part of the landscape now.
I see. So it's giving a real weight to your feelings. In a normal app, your data feels so ephemeral. It's just bits in the cloud. Here, the system is actually saying, this moment happened. It is real. It is part of your structure.
Exactly. It prevents you from gaslighting yourself. You can't sanitize your own
Yeah.
history. And this is all enforced by what they call CMOS guarantees.
Yeah.
These are mechanical enforcements of witnessing. It guarantees that the timeline is true. It's not a feature. It's the physics of the system.
Now, there's one specific feature in Lamora that really blew my mind. It's called Volta, and it deals with voice. Now, usually when I talk to technology, Siri, Alexa, whatever, I know exactly what's happening. It's recording me, transcribing that audio to text, scanning the text for keywords, and then generating a response.
That's the standard pipeline. Capture, transcribe, analyze, respond. Lamora just flips this script completely with Volta. It enables voice as presence.
Yeah. But, and this is the part that is kind of hard to wrap your head around, the voice data is not transcribed, and it is not analyzed by AI.
So wait, I speak into the app. It records me, but it doesn't turn it into text. It doesn't know what I said.
It has absolutely no idea what you said.
What's the point?
The point is witnessing. When you speak into the system, you are marking temporal continuity. You are creating substrate with your voice. The system records the fact that you spoke. It holds the audio waveform as a marker of that specific moment in time. It creates a record that you existed in that moment and had something to express. But it refuses to invade the content of that speech to try and model you. That is wild. It's actively resisting the urge to extract value. It's saying the value isn't in the keywords in your sentence. The value is the act of speaking itself.
It's honoring the data by not processing it. It's like the digital equivalent of a vow of silence. It holds a container for you to be heard without the judgment of an algorithm deciding if you sound anxious or excited.
That connects directly to the privacy architecture. Because if we're talking about structural sovereignty, I need to know where this data lives. Because usually cloud sync just means it's on Amazon's computer and they have the keys.
This is the local first sync-to-self approach. In the standard model, your data lives on the company's server. They hold the keys and they pinky swear not to look at it
Which we know is a promise that gets broken all the time.
all the time. In Lamora, the data lives in your browser's local storage or on your device. And when it syncs, it doesn't sync to Lamora's central database. It syncs to your personal Firebase instance.
So every single user has their own little private bucket in the cloud that only they have the credentials for.
Exactly. The creators of Lamora literally cannot access your data. They don't have the keys. The source calls this the difference between privacy theater and structural sovereignty. Privacy theater is a policy. Structural sovereignty is architecture.
We don't look because we can't look. That's a powerful distinction. And it seems like this philosophy even extends to how they make money. Because we've all heard that saying, if the product is free, you are the product.
Right. Free apps are data vacuums. Lamora uses a payment model that reflects this membrane logic. You own the data from the very first check-in, but the source mentions that after 7 entries, you pay to unlock something called coherence intelligence.
But if they can't see your data, what are you paying for?
You aren't buying access to your data. You already have that. You are paying to bind a continuous computational witness to your identity.
Binding a continuous computational witness. That's such a cool way to phrase that. You're basically hiring the software to be a digital guardian of your history.
That's it. You are paying for the integrity of the membrane. You are paying for the service of holding space, not for the privilege of being analyzed.
So we've thrown a lot of heavy concepts at everyone here. We've got models versus membranes, prediction versus witnessing. I want to ground this. If we had to put these two worldviews in the ring, how do they stack up? Let's do a sort of rapid fire comparison.
Let's do it.
Okay, first matchup, the core action. Collapse versus preservation.
The model collapses, it compresses you into a flat vector, the membrane preserves, it keeps the volumetric texture of your emotional life intact.
Matchup 2, the goal, prediction versus witnessing.
A model extrapolates, it is obsessed with the future. What happens next? A membrane reflects, it anchors you in the present, what is here right now.
Matchup 3, the architecture, centralization versus decentralization.
Models are hungry. They need to aggregate everyone's data into a massive global corpus to learn patterns. They need big data. Membranes operate on the individual level. Your coherence is derived from your substrate alone. It doesn't matter what a million other people are feeling. It only matters what you are feeling.
And finally, the big ethical one, surveillance versus sovereignty.
This is the heart of it all. Models optimize you. They treat you as a problem to be solved or a resource to be mined. Membranes treat you as a sovereign emotional field with its own internal logic that deserves respect.
It really feels like we are standing at a fork in the road. The source mentions that we are entering an era where emotional data is the final frontier of extraction.
It absolutely is. I mean, think about the history of the internet. First, they came for our clicks. We gave them that. Then they tracked our location. We gave them that. Then they mapped our social connections. Now, the only thing left, the only virgin territory for data mining is our interior state. Our fears, our joys, our anxieties.
And the scary part is we are inviting them in. We're wearing the watches and downloading the apps because we want help. We want to feel better.
Which is why this concept of ethical substrate design is so critical. We have to prove that we can build technology that touches our emotions without exploiting them. The membrane logic proves it's possible. It demonstrates that tech can hold space for your personal growth, your becoming, without turning you into a static model to be sold.
So what does the future look like if this membrane idea actually catches on? The article teases a next phase called attestant. What is that?
Attestant represents the evolution of this system. It talks about introducing semantic membranes and batch analysis. The goal is to find patterns in your emotional substrate to give you insights without falling back into that old trap of predictive modeling.
It mentions something called coherence scoring. Now, I'm used to wellness scores or sleep scores. Is this the same kind of thing?
It's fundamentally different. A wellness score is usually based on compliance to an external norm. Did you walk 10,000 steps? Did you sleep 8 hours? If you didn't, your score goes down. It judges you.
Right. It's like a teacher grading your lifestyle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Coherence scoring doesn't care about norms. It measures system health. It looks at emotional field physics. It treats your interior life as a dynamic system. It's looking for internal consistency and flow, not compliance with some generic health standard.
Emotional field physics. I love that term. It implies that your emotions are like a weather system or an ecosystem. You can't just judge a thunderstorm is bad and a sunny day is good. They're both just part of the physics of the atmosphere.
Precisely. And in a complex system, you have emergent properties. You can't just add up sad plus tired and get the full picture. The combination creates something new. A testant is about providing tools to navigate that complexity, not to simplify it down to a smiley face or a frowning face.
This has been such a refreshing look at the tools we use. I think, especially for those of us who love tech, it's so easy to get seduced by the capabilities of AI. We see an algorithm that can predict our mood and we go, wow, that's magic. We don't stop to ask if we even want to be predicted.
It's the difference between capture and coherence. We are building the infrastructure of the human mind right now.
Oh.
As we move forward, we have to ask ourselves, do we want tools that treat us as data to be solved? Or do we want tools that help us see ourselves more clearly?
The source leaves us with this idea that the future isn't about better prediction algorithms. It's not about a smarter AI that knows you better than you know yourself. It's about clearer boundaries.
It's about having a membrane, a structure that protects your interior life while still allowing you to connect with the world.
And that boundary is what allows you to grow. It allows you to become, rather than just being a fixed point on a graph.
That's the key. A model fixes you in place. A membrane breathes with you.
I want to leave everyone with a final thought from the article because I think it sums up this entire shift perfectly. It's something to ask yourself the next time you open a wellness app or track your mood and wonder who exactly is watching.
The membrane doesn't ask what you will feel next. It asks what coherence you're already creating.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.